Asmongold goes off on QTCinderella after she spoke out against ICE. He said, "It's another privileged white girl that lives in a gated community, totally isolated. You don't have any level of understanding of this at all because you're rich." To which Hasan's orbiter Denims responded, saying, "Guy who lives like this here to tell us which people are out of touch," posting an old photo of Asmon's room before he cleaned it. Now, granted, rooms do need cleaning more than once a lifetime, but hey, it's still a step up for Asmongold, and that is still an old picture. And then Asmongold would respond to Denims in this clip.
Oh, here we go. Dude who lives like this, tell us where people are out of touch. I am very successful and I'm rich and everything is going really well for me. Financially, I live my life as a normal person. These people don't. They don't live their lives like normal people. They have food delivered to them. They have groceries delivered to them. They live a pampered life of luxury. They have house cleaners come in and clean their house. You know what happens when I want to clean my house? I clean my house. That's what happens. So these people live in total luxury, and they're afraid of having that luxury cost a little bit more money in case you have to actually pay Americans for it. So that's really the difference between me and a lot of these other people, is that that's my room. And I'll tell you something, if Denims or QTCinderella had a room that was like that, they'd pay somebody to clean it up. But whenever I had a room like that, I cleaned it up myself. And that makes me an actual real fucking American that's connected to the fucking world, rather than somebody who's disconnected that thinks that illegal aliens and illegal immigration is good for the country, and you want to soapbox and virtue signal about how great it is. That's the facts. At the end of the day, I live my life the same way that everybody else does. They don't. They want to live like celebrities. I just want to live like an American.
Now look, according to Asmongold, he's done some gross stuff. I'm not going to defend him for some of that stuff. I think it's gross. Granted, sometimes I think he's joking, and it's hard to tell when he's serious about some of this stuff and when he's joking about some of it. Nevertheless, like I said, I do think some of his lifestyle choices are unsanitary to say the least. But he is absolutely correct about the LA Streamer Clique and how disconnected those people are, how privileged they are, and how out of touch they are. Even more hilarious, that takes us to Hasan, who, I mean, I mentioned the other day, I feel it's almost like bullying talking about this dude because it's just so easy. And I'm almost like, I think he's like degrading mentally. Like he's getting worse somehow. For example, in the clip that we're about to watch of Hasan raging at Asmongold because he's got to defend his little LA Streamer Clique friends, got to defend his Nepo buddies, his crony buddies anyways, that's to say that Hasan is going to mention how little Asmongold showers, apparently. He's going to tell you how Asmongold's gross because he doesn't shower. What's funny about this is right around the same period that he said that, as in a day before or the same day, I don't know, but it was right around like the same period of time. Let's just say the same week. One of his chatters mentioned how Chairman Mao Zedong, someone that Hasan is very eager to always glaze whenever he gets the chance, loves the dude it seems, was really happy to get a copy of the Little Red Book and all that when he was in China. And so this chatter mentions that Mao Zedong was pretty notorious for having terrible hygiene, that he wouldn't shower, he wouldn't bathe, and some sources say that he even went like 20 to 27 years without cleaning himself. And you know what Hasan does? Because it's different. He says, well, that's okay because it was cultural differences. Bruh. He's simultaneously going to try to use Asmongold's apparent lack of showering, which isn't even as bad as Mao apparently was, against Asmongold. But then when it's coming, when Mao Zedong's doing the same thing, if not worse, seemingly worse, he's going to defend that for quote-unquote cultural differences.
Mao didn't shower, yes, but that's not because he's an anarchist. That's just how, you know, other cultures have different hygiene habits in general.
And now here's the clip of Hasan crashing out at Asmongold as he tries to defend the LA Streamer Clique.
I mean, the thing is that I don't really talk about this a lot because I think that it's kind of like an ego thing. I know there are other streamers that like talking a lot about how, you know, they get mainstream credibility and mainstream.
I wonder who he's talking about. This also reveals that he does hate that nobody takes him seriously. Look at how excited he is that someone in a position of power has actually validated his worldview after spending years sucking up to the administration. What news station would have you Actually, like maybe Fox News, I guess. You cannot handle the spotlight, my friend.
Pause real quick for context. As you can see on screen, he's referring to how Asmongold was reacting to recently being retweeted by the vice president, JD Vance. Now, it seems like Hasan's actually making a bigger deal out of this than Asmongold did. Here's like Asmongold's reaction.
JD retweeted me? Did he really? Let me see. Got retweeted by the vice president. Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
And so out of Asmongold saying that, Hasan somehow tries to extrapolate like, oh, wow, see, this is a self-report that Asmongold really cares about how no one takes him seriously. And he wishes like people would take him seriously and he could be on the news and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, calm down. Bro is quite literally making something up in his mind to get upset about. And it's like, it's extremely exceptional when he's already got clips of Asmongold that upset him, that he's getting upset about like on a daily basis. But even that's not enough. He also has to make his own headcanon to get further upset. Great job, Hasan. Great job. Like I said, it's just too easy.
A big part of the reason why you cannot handle the spotlight is because you don't actually have real convictions. You're just doing it for pure grift. And the moment of pushback, the first side of pushback, you would fold. As you do every single time. That's why you're Asmongold. You don't have any social skills. You don't have any ideological conviction. And you don't even want to shower. And I feel like if you went on Fox News looking like this, people go, ew, gross. This is our representative on the internet? And making it seem as though he is not an out-of-touch multimillionaire just because he doesn't shower. Many people actually don't understand that Asmongold is even more out of touch than the likes of someone like QTCinderella or even someone like myself, by virtue of us going outside and also regularly showering. Meanwhile, he is a fucking multimillionaire grifting off of your stupidity by telling you that Donald Trump is fucking awesome, yeah, based, everything is common sense, deluding you that make this space that I'm in a worse place overall. Of course I'm going to oppose it, and I hope that other people will find courage in both my conviction and many others and find courage in numbers to also oppose him.
This entire rant that we just watched Hasan go on is why I prefaced it by saying I think this dude's getting worse. Again, so much of that was literally something he created in his mind. Asmon said nothing about wanting to go on the news, let alone go on Fox News. And it's both pretty telling and not surprising at all that Hasan sees it a whole different way and creates this own headcanon of his, because he is someone who has openly expressed admiration for corrupt mainstream journalists. And he has all these fluff pieces written about him. So it seems like he just assumes that Asmon secretly wants the same thing and he's mad that he doesn't have it. Hasan, this is an example of why people call you out of touch. Corporate press, journalists, these are professions that are some of the least respected professions in the world. But to Hasan, them writing fluff pieces about you is admirable and something people really want. Something Asmongold secretly really wants. And in my opinion, like I've said before, hypothetically, if I had corrupt corporate journalists, mainstream press writing fluff pieces about me, I would know that I'm doing something wrong. And so I just find it rather amusing that Hasan sees it in such a completely different way. Like, what I view as a sellout corporate journalist, Hasan views as like a respected professional. And he loves those fluff pieces. And lastly, for Hasan trying to defend the LA Streamer Clique, saying that Asmongold's actually more out of touch than they all are, and that they're all multimillionaires. Well, sure, that part's true. Asmongold's very well off. He's a multimillionaire, surely. But people still view the LA Streamer Clique as more out of touch because they come off as very privileged, bougie people who never want to admit that. And they constantly stand on some moral soapbox, acting like they're superior to others as they virtue signal down to everyone else. And so, as mentioned, people appreciate that Asmongold doesn't act like that. Anyways, while that was fun, that's also all I gotta say in this one. So, I'll leave this video here. As always, thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely week ahead, and I'll see you next time.